Hey guys, this is Anita. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about how my 2023 went in terms of my reading and what are my plans for 2024. 2023 in a nutshell is a disaster. I mean, not in terms of quality of books. I read some amazing books. I have some of my all-time favorites, but in terms of number of books and how much I struggled in the later half, it was just a disaster. My goal was to read 60 books. I managed to read only 50 books. First half of the year went good. I read 30 books. Last half is where I had problems. Totally, I had 18 5-star books. 17 out of them I read in the first half. 17 out of them I read until July, like for 7 months. From August, I started having problems. I was in slump. I started not liking things. I mean, I read some good books. I have multiple 4-star and 4.5-star books. That's the point. I started seeing problems even in good books. Actually, Alan started calling me grumpy that I'm not liking any books. He's right. I started seeing problems everywhere. That's why I even stopped reading my self-pub arcs because I don't want to hate them. I don't want my mood to affect my enjoyment of them. So I started reading only the authors I know and the world I knew, like Robin Hobb. I already know the entire world. I know the character. And I read those books. I finished the Realm of Elderling trilogy, and I read KJ Parker books because all his books are set in the same world. Even those books I had problems. First, let's look at how my buddy reads went. Last year, I made this video of how many buddy reads I was part of. Some of you started asking what was the progress and if I am considering making a video of that status of the buddy reads. So I thought to add the status of them in the same video instead of doing a separate video because it's actually bad. I don't want to do a separate video full of negative energy. That bad it is. So first read along, I was part of Wheel of Time. So I was supposed to read one book per month. So 12 books last year. I read 5 books actually. I'm not DNFing Wheel of Time series. I dropped out because I am part of so many buddy reads and each Wheel of Time book was like 700, minimum 700 page book, 800. The length is only increasing when we go forward. It's almost like 10 pages per Wheel of Time book in a month. I did not have that kind of bandwidth last year, so I decided to drop out of that read along and read it in my own pace. My plan was to read like one book per couple of months or 3 months, but unfortunately, like in the second half of the year, I got into slump and I was reading only like 2-3 books per month, so it did not happen, but I'll definitely continue. And the second read along was finishing Realm of Elderlings, and I was successful in that. We had 7 books left in that series and we finished that. We had discussions of every book in my channel. I actually do spoiler free review of each sub series. After finishing that, I still have to review the final trilogy, but I'm happy I finished that. And the next one, actually, this is the biggest disappointment for me last year because this was my priority series to finish, which was Dagger and Coin by Daniel Abraham. I read only 2 books in this series. I got into slump. I had other commitments, so I could not give it more time it deserves. But this is definitely like first priority this year. I'm planning to read like Jan, March, Feb, the 3rd, 4th, 5th books and finish it off. And next is Alan Read Alongs. He did 4 trilogies, so 12 books. This is the only thing I think after Hobb, this is the only place where I'm successful. I mean, I am still reading that last book in the last trilogy. We completed Cicero trilogy, which became one of my favorite trilogies ever. Imperium made my top 12 list. The second trilogy was Risen Kingdoms. I loved that Jean-Claude and Isabel became my favorite characters. And then we read Empire trilogy. I liked it, but I have some issues with that. Also, I read this in the later half of the year. Obviously, I had problems. And this final trilogy is Engineer trilogy by KJ Parker. I am reading the final book now. I have around 200 pages left. This is so bleak and I hate the main character. I mean, obviously it's Parker, his writing I'm enjoying, but I want to punch that main character. So that's all the series I read. I read 2 standalones, Palace of Illusions by Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni and Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. I enjoyed both of them. That's it. Those are the only two standalones I read. As per the buddy reads I committed, I think I failed completely when it comes to standalones. I think because of these commitments, I had so many commitments. I did 15 series to start video last year. I had like 23 standalones to read in 2023. I have self-pub TBR. I have so many self-pub arcs. I have NetGalley arcs. I think because of these commitments, I was so overwhelmed that affected me in the later half of the year. So this year, I decided to be careful. I haven't even completed my last year goal, so I don't want to do any of those videos this year. Out of 15 series I wanted to start, I started 5 series. Dagger and Coin, Wheel of Time, Risen Kingdoms. Luckily, Risen Kingdoms was part of Alan's read-alongs. That's why I am able to finish that. And I also started Chiago's Ashes of Averin. I read Touch of Light. And I also started Collection Saga by Andrew D. Meredith. I read Deathless Beast and Bone Shroud. Oh my god. Don't even ask me how many standalones I read. I had 23 standalones on my list to read. I read 1. Palace of Illusions. Is there any bigger failure than this? But some of them are part of buddy reads, so we scheduled them this year. I am definitely going to make some progress on that list. I think I did decent with my NetGalley arcs. I read And Put Away Child Listings by Adrian Tchaikovsky and I reviewed it. I loved it, by the way, 5 stars. And I read In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. I also reviewed it in my channel. And I read Ebony's Song by PJ Lee Clark and I reviewed it. And I also finished entire trilogy, Cyrus Korak's trilogy by KJ Parker. Those came out like last 3 months of the last year, like October, November, December. I finished the last one only in December. I'll film the review this month, hopefully. And Self-Pub arcs, I did a bad job actually. I read Andrew D. Meredith's Thrice and Fourscored first 2 books in Needle and Life trilogy and I reviewed them. I read Deathless Beast and Bone Shroud. I reviewed them. I read Patricia Meredith's A Deed of Dreadful Note and her other first book in Spokane Clock Tower Mysteries, Butcher Baker Candlestick Taker. I read only first book, so I want to continue that this year. And I read Wishful Ascending by J.C.M. Byrne. I reviewed it. That became one of my favorite series. Rohan became my favorite character. I will definitely continue that series. And I have other self-pub arcs, so many. By the time I finish these books, I am sure they will publish other books in the series. I have to continue them. So I am not committing to any other. Actually, that is a big fat lie. I already committed to some buddy reads this year. On that note, let's talk about 2024 goals. My first priority is to finish Dagger and Coin. And then I am planning to read Great Courts. Great Courts is on my TBR from past 3 years. That was one of Alan's favorite series. Alan is also planning to reread that, so we will read it together. And then I'm also going to read Fencer Trilogy by KJ Parker with Alan, Evie and Pete. I'm not sure if we are doing Two Swords or not, but Fencer Trilogy is for sure. And there is also Final Architecture read-along in Alan's Discord. Alan is not part of that. It is a official read-along hosted by Evie, and there are so many people joining that. We are doing that in Jan, Feb, March. Actually, initial Jan, Feb is little packed because of already committed read-along and standalone buddy reads, and also I have carryovers from last month, but I did not plan anything beyond March, so I am hoping I can finish some of the arcs. And in terms of channel goals, first of all, I want to be consistent with my posting. I used to do like 2 videos per week. I want to continue that. And first half of last year I did good with reviews. Like my every other video is a review of a book, 1 TBR review, wrap up review. Every other video is a review. Actually, it was mostly reviews and I failed completely in the second half. I did not review anything after reading The Hammer. I think that blocked me. I need to get over it and review all the books. Most of the books and series I finished in the later part of the year. Next goal is interview with Chitrabhana Jidivakrini, who is the author of Palace of Illusions and Forest of Enchantments. Evie already finished Forest of Enchantments. I need to finish it, but after finishing it, I want to reach out to her. I hope I'll get response because I really want to talk to her about Palace of Illusions and Forest of Enchantments. Those are the retellings of Indian epic tales, Mahabharata and Ramayana. Mahabharata and Ramayana are the first stories we ever read or listen to. They were told by my grandparents. I watched multiple versions of movies based on them. I read multiple stories based on them. They are integral part of my life. I really loved what Chitrabhana Jidivakrini did with those stories. I really want to talk to her. I hope she will respond. We'll have to see. Oh, I totally forgot to talk about one big series actually. I'm not sure at the end of 2022 or the beginning of 2023, I committed to Stormlight read along. Our plan is to read one book per 2 months and novellas in between them. So Way of Kings for January and February. I'm not sure, I'm scared to start it actually because I am in the middle of so many commitments. At the same time, I also want to read that because if the book is coming out at the end of this year. So if I read Stormlight, I am planning to vlog each book. We will see if that happens or not. Also, I want to be more active in BookTube community. I'm actually decently active. I think I always be part of my friends' live shows. I'll be in comments and I talk to them in comments, but I also want to do more discussions. I want to host more discussions. I have ideas for them. We will see if that happens or not. I'll update you once I have a complete plan about them. That's all I have. After the disastrous 2023, I decided to have rough goals for 2024 instead of like separate videos, multiple videos with hundreds of books. This sounds doable. Actually, my main goal is to get out of this slump. Once I'm out of slump, I'll be more enthusiastic about filming videos and filming reviews. That slump breaking is the key thing. That's all I have. Let me know what are your goals for 2024. What are the big series you are planning to start? Please like, comment and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye bye.